Hi, I'm Stuart. I'm a freshman at Cedar University. I'm majoring in theater and worship, and I couldn't be more excited to be here today. I was never able to answer the question, do you know you're going to heaven? I would hear my grandmother talking about how she knew when she died she would go to heaven and see Jesus' face. And when I would ask myself that question, I couldn't answer it. I couldn't, in my heart, honestly say 100% yes, I know I'm going. And so throughout my childhood years, I prayed the prayer countless times, 5 or 6 times. And there was always that doubt, and it confused me because in my mind I prayed the prayer and I was good. And then I went to this program called Team Pact Leadership Schools, where they teach you about the government from a Christian perspective. The third year I went just expecting a good time, not expecting to get anything spiritual out of it at all. And while I was there, the first night at the camp, the air conditioning died in the dorm and it was really hot. And I remember just all night having visions of the devil taking over my mind and body and me crying out to Jesus Christ for help to no response. And I've never before felt so afraid and alone in my life. And I could just feel an evil presence around me the whole time. So the next day I was tired, I was confused, I was scared, I didn't know what to do with myself. And then one of the staffers went up and shared his testimony about how he had grown up in a Christian home and came to find Christ. And it spoke to me in a way a testimony had never spoken to me before. All of a sudden, these worship songs that we were singing, the words meant something more. I could feel something more in these words that I'd sung so many times before. So that night, I ended up realizing that I wasn't a Christian. I needed Jesus more than anything else in the world. And I ended up praying with one of the camp leader that night and accepting Christ in my heart. And I remember walking back into the dorm thinking, what's different about this time? Why should this time I've prayed be any different than the last 4 or 5 times I prayed when I was a kid? And I was lying there in bed still wondering about this question, and I remember the Bible verse about how the angels in heaven sing in joy and happiness each time a new person is welcomed into the kingdom. And I didn't feel joyful. I didn't feel like the angels were rejoicing on my behalf. I thought, maybe I missed out. Maybe I'm still not a Christian. And I was lying there staring at the ceiling, and all of a sudden I saw a light shine on the ceiling, but it wasn't normal. And because it was in the shape of a rectangle with the top rounded off, like you would see in many old churches. And I was wondering what was causing this light when all of a sudden a silhouette of Jesus on the cross appears in the middle. And I immediately sat up and looked out the window behind me to see where this light was coming from, and it was pitch black outside. And by the time I look back at the ceiling, the light's gone. And ever since then, I've never once doubted that I've been saved and that Jesus Christ has washed me clean of all my sins, of everything, and that I will see him one day again in heaven.